Do your research on the country you're moving to. Only then will you know what you exactly need to arrange before you go. And most importantly, how much money it will cost you. That's the focus of today's video. Because let's face it, moving is expensive, and it's even more expensive when you're going to move abroad.
But before we start, those who have seen us before, we are happy and thankful you have returned to watch more of our videos. And if you are new, we are
Matt
and I'm Monico, and we share videos on moving and living abroad. The information that we share is based on our own experiences, but we also share things that we learn for our next move abroad. It will be the first time as a family. So please consider subscribing and hitting the notification button if you want to see more of our videos.
So, we have made a checklist of the many things that you will need to arrange before you're leaving. All of that costs money, so it's wise to start checking how much it exactly is going to cost you. So, you have enough time to get the finance straight before you dive into the process of moving and living abroad. So, let's look at the checklist we think is necessary for your preparations on moving abroad. We are definitely going to start ticking off those boxes soon because we hope to live abroad in 2 years' time.
So, if possible, the first thing you should do is visit the country first. I can imagine that if you are relocating because of work or studies, then you do not have the opportunity to visit the country before you actually move there. But if you can, try to spend a long holiday there. Check out neighborhoods and areas you see yourself living in, and whenever possible, check out housing, schooling, and other things you think are important. The more thorough you do this orientation, the better idea you will get on how much monthly income you will need. The first few months of living in your new country are of course the most expensive. You will need to pay deposit, perhaps purchase a car, get things for your house, and so on. So start saving now.
Yeah, and the next tip on the list is documentation. And by documentation, we mean passport, driver's license, birth certificates, wedding certificates, or any other type of certificates. Don't forget your diplomas. Any paperwork that you will need to arrange something official in your new home country. But most importantly, make sure you renew your passport. You don't want it to expire just when you finally have the important visa in it, or even worse, you need to leave your new country and your passport is less than 6 months valid. Also, it's good to have a new passport. Then you're certain you have enough space for all the new stamps and visas that you'll be getting. Also ask if it's possible to add extra pages to your new passport. It can get pretty full once you start applying and extending your visas. Besides a new passport, you should also try to get a new driver's license. It's a pain to get it renewed in a foreign country, so get it done before you leave. It will save you so much time.
Next on the checklist is visa application. This is probably the most important one because if you don't have it arranged as best as possible, it can cost you so much money.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't take care of it seriously, you can be shocked how much the cost will eventually be. And that would be a shame if it wouldn't fit your budget. This topic is pretty important, so we're going to spend an entire video on visas alone very soon.
Yeah, that's right. So, next one on our list is health insurance. Naturally, health insurance is just as important as arranging all the right documents. Check how much your travel insurance will cover if you're actually living somewhere, instead of being on an extremely long holiday for a year or so. Since the nomad lifestyle is becoming more common, there are numerous types of insurances you can choose from nowadays. So try to find one that fits your situation.
Next point is put extra money aside for medical expenses before leaving. When you leave for a new country, you need to make sure you are healthy. You don't want to end up sick when you have just settled in. Make sure you are fit and have done the checkups on complaints you already have, and try to leave carefree. This also includes issues that you are struggling with mentally or emotionally. If you have issues in your life, try to search for some professional help. Once you are settled down in your new countries, these issues will reappear again if you haven't dealt with it before. They will follow you everywhere. So if you deal with this at home, then at least you can find help in your native language, which helps, of course, in the whole process.
Yeah. So the next one up is airline tickets. This is an obvious one, of course, but please start checking the prices of airline tickets to get an indication on how much you will be spending. Make sure you check the options to pay for additional weight. It will give you less stress if you have some flexibility, when packing. We use Google Flights to get a good indication of the prices. They will show you the airlines which have the cheapest tickets for the entire month. This makes it super simple for comparing prices.
Exactly. And for the next point is language courses. From our own experiences, it is best to start off a language course way before you leave.
Yeah.
Once you are in the country, you will initially not find the time to learn the language. But even worse, if you end up in a country where the people are able to speak English as a second language, you are likely to fall into the trap of speaking English and never learning the language properly. So a head start will keep you motivated to continue practicing once you are there. Besides, life will be much easier if you know the language a bit, especially if you need to arrange important stuff such as housing permits and so on. So start studying as soon as possible.
Next one on the checklist is maintenance costs. If you're like us and you own a house and which you don't want to sell, the next best option is probably renting it out. Leaving it empty should not really be an option. We discovered that some insurances will not cover if the house is empty after a certain period of time. Also, an empty house is likely to deteriorate quickly once it isn't properly maintained. We are going to rent out our house, but before we go, we need to do some serious maintenance and construction work. After 10 years of living here, there are some things that we really need to do before we leave. We don't want to be abroad and then the tenants call us because of a leakage in the bathroom or there's something wrong with the roof or anything like this.
So another point is check relocation service options. It is okay to hand out all the preparation to a company who has done it for others 1,000 times before. They will arrange the paperwork, the move, the shipping, everything. All you need to do is pay. So check if this fits your budget and if it is something for you.
Next is finding storage. The best thing that you can do when moving abroad for longer than a year is sell everything. Don't stow furniture or any other household goods because storage will cost you so much money. Sell it, donate it, or give it to your family, friends, or your lovely neighbors, But I can imagine it is tough to say goodbye to emotional things, such as pictures, favorite books, or other items that have a certain emotional value to you. Try to stow these things at your family or friend's house. And once you know a bit where the future will take you, have it shipped, But from experience, once you have started a new life in your country, you are going to forget what you have piled up in those boxes anyway. So in this case, when stowing stuff, less is the best.
On our checklist are also pet costs. If you want to bring your dog, cat, or any other pet with you, check online for the prices. If it is mandatory for your pet to go into quarantine for a long period of time, then you have to think if it is all worth it. A difficult dilemma, of course, not only price-wise, but also for the welfare of your pet. We have a cat that we don't want to leave behind, so we definitely need to check what we need to arrange to bring him along.
Another point that you need to save money on is temporary accommodation. You will need to have some money for the first couple of months. Once you arrive, you might not have a permanent home yet, and you will need to rent on a weekly basis. That's pretty common. Make sure you have enough money and that your savings will not run out too soon, So it can take some extra time to find a home that fits your needs.
Next one up is consultant services. If you still need to pay tax in your home country or like us still have a house, then you should find somebody professional to arrange the payments and any other paperwork for you. Find somebody before you go so you can talk face to face and get all the necessary papers that the consultant will need to arrange your administration for the next upcoming years.
Last but not least, make sure you have enough money for all the costs. And I mean unexpected ones. You will encounter them along the way, that's for sure. You might need official translation of papers or authentication of papers by the notary. It's all going to cost you. Also, you're going to make mistakes. That's unavoidable when you're abroad. Things might take longer than planned. And you will pay more than the local people, so expect the cost will be higher. As you can tell, you will need money to prepare for your move. Even if you decide to move to a country where the living standards are much cheaper. You will be surprised how much money you still need to get there. That's for sure.
So, start saving as soon as possible. If you're renting an expensive apartment, start living smaller, sell things you really don't need and focus on your goal. Then it is easier not to buy the newest sneakers or gadgets. But most of all, make sure you have multiple sources of income so you can generate income before you leave and once you are living abroad. Are you curious how we are doing this? We have added a link in our description below this video, so make sure you check that out.
So that's the checklist that we will be holding on to for our next move, right? We hope you'll find this checklist useful and that you will be referring to it when you are budgeting your move abroad. We, of course, will post more information on things you should do before moving abroad so you are well prepared. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button to stay updated. If you have any other things that you think should be on the list of costs before leaving, please let us know in the comment section below this video. Thank you so much for watching and bye bye!